they do, YouTube? This is the Big Fish Network, home for Miami Dolphin fans worldwide. I'm your host, Dave Wade, back on the set, and we got breaking news for the Miami Dolphins. The Fins hired Mike McDaniel as the new head coach for the team. Now, on the surface, this looks like desperation to me. It looked like a desperation move because of the pressure being applied from litigation. Plus, he wasn't considered a top target by other teams. We was the only team to interview him for the head coaching job. So, that say a lot. 31 other teams didn't think that he was head coach material or didn't think that he would make a great overall leader on all sides of the ball. So that's something that is concerning. To me, I think what made Flores such a great coach was not just his toughness, strategy, and his leadership, but also the fact that he came from Brooklyn, played linebacker at Boston College. Belichick utilized his skill set as a student, as a coach on all sides of the ball, offense, defense, and special teams, and the kicking game. Plus, he made a lot of calls for us on special teams that won us some games. If y'all look back in 2019, 2020, even this year, Flores made some calls that won us some games on special teams. Trick plays, that Flores will run. Things like putting the ball at the right time to put the opponent on the 5, inside the 5-yard line with Matt Hollins making plays on special teams. Those little things count when it comes to coaching, and you got to have a good coach that'll do that. I can't really say that Adam Gase and Philbin and all the other coaches, some of the problems that we had with them as fans was they didn't make good calls when it came to coaches making calls to help your team win games sometimes. Flores did that, so that's going to be something that we're going to miss. Like I said, calling trick plays at the right time, going for it on 4th down at the right time, squeezing the juice out of undrafted players like, Myles Gaskin, Nick Needham, Siler, Iguoven. Squeezing the juice out of those players and turning them into potential studs, turning them into potential players, 5th round, 6th round, 7th round draft picks, seeing if you could turn them into ballers. I feel like Flores and Greer did a good job of doing that, getting waiver wire players. So, Mike McDaniel's gonna have to be able to bring that as well. Otherwise, we're gonna end up right back in the Gase situation or Philbin situation where we spending money on players like Elliott B and Phillip Wheeler and all these players wasting all this money and being right back in the situation that we was in that you, Stephen Ross, said that you didn't want to be in, which is why you hired Flores in the first place. So hopefully we're not going backwards. Hopefully, Greer and McDaniel will be able to maybe continue the trend of, if we're going to get getting vets that's 26 years or younger and building through the draft. I think that's the best approach. From what I've seen, it hasn't worked for us getting all these 31-year-old vets, 30-year-old vets. We're going to end up getting rid of them anyway. So I like 26 and younger, maybe 28, depending on, how good they is and how much they're going to fit into the scheme. We'll have to see. But, these approaches that Flores, did as a coach led to turnarounds and wins. It's not always how you start, it's how you finish. That's what they say most of the time. And I think Flores didn't start great, but he finished strong each year. And I think that works probably for most teams, but you got to understand this is Miami. And the path for Miami is to win early. You know what I'm saying? If we're going to falter at all in the season, it'll be towards the tail end of the season. But starting out fast, starting out with 8 wins, going 8-2, you know what I'm saying? Or going 7 in a row, 6 in a row. That's how Shula had winning teams, is he started fast. He took advantage of the heat, took advantage of our conditions, our weather. You know what I'm saying? The fact that the opposing team got the sun beaming on their side, it's hot on their side. They got to get cooling fans and cooling benches and shit like that. We got to take advantage of that early in the season. It seemed like Shula did that, and he's the only coach really. I feel like, I think Wanstead did it too, where we won early, and then maybe towards the end, maybe if we lose 2 games in New England or I mean, not New England, but a game to New England, a game to a cold weather team, it won't matter that much because we won early. So that's the path for Miami. We a team that got to win early. A team like the Giants, a team like, them New York teams, they can start off slow and catch fire in the wintertime because then the climate fits them. It's more favorable to them. We're a team, Jacksonville, the Jaguars, them teams from the South, we got to win early and go off on a good 3-0, 4-0, 5-0 run. And then, that way the games in the winter don't matter. So let's take a look at Brian Flores' winning percentage compared to previous coaches. So 2019 through 2021, Brian Flores, as you can see here, has a winning percentage of .490. The rest of the coaches, Adam Gase, .479 from 2016, 2018. Then you got Joe Philbin, who had .462 from 2012 to 2015. Tony Sparano, .475 from 2008 to 2011. And then you see Cam Cameron and Nick Saban's winning percentage. So of the previous coaches, as you can see, Brian Flores had a better winning percentage than our previous coaches. So we finally found at that time the coach that we needed to do exactly what Stephen Ross said that he wanted, which was have continuous winning seasons, which I believe, even if we didn't have Mike McDaniel was as the offensive guru, supposed coach that we just hired, I believe that Brian Flores would have hired an offensive guy who was better than O'Shea and Gailey. He would have found somebody that he could have added to this offense that I believe would have gotten the most out of Tua. I believe so. I just believe he needed more time. These defensive coaches need time to find that. Sometimes what they try in the beginning may not work. They got to try something else. It depends on what kind of staff they have familiarity with. So, yes, Flores wasn't able to bring the right offensive coaches because he needed to cycle through a few. But we won on defense. We won on special teams. We won by running the scheme that Tua was running, and it worked. It just didn't work enough for us to go to the playoffs. But these numbers, like I said, they do say a lot. And Mike McDaniel, he got some work to do and some big shoes to fill. This ain't San Francisco. Like I said, this is Miami-Dade County. Our fans are impatient as hell. We got other shit to do besides go to the game. You know what I'm saying? These seats will be empty if he don't get out to a fast start and if we not winning right away. Because our fans, we know a winner when we see one, and we'll call it out and say, nah, he ain't the guy. He ain't the guy. We'll say it quick if we don't see our team balling. So, hopefully Mike McDaniel can start fast and not start slow like how Flores did. You look at our offense, we were ranked 25th in the league in yards per game, which I would attribute that to the lack of a running game. Like I said, y'all know I blame that on Eric Stoogsville. I believe McDaniel could fix that. You look at his coaching career, and he was on that Washington staff with Mike and Kyle Shanahan, Sean McVay, and Matt LaFleur. So he's in that group of up-and-coming young callers who come from that Bill Walsh West Coast tree. But what they did was they intervened the concepts of the West Coast into the RPO with RG3, and his 2012 rookie year was one of the best rookie seasons by a quarterback. You could almost credit them for being successful with the read option in the NFL, which Tua is excellent at. I would say Robert Griffin III probably is more athletic at scrambling out the pocket, you know what I'm saying, and getting yards, by running the ball. Tua can scramble too, but he's just not as athletic as RG3. But I think Tua is way more accurate than RG3 as far as passing the ball. And hopefully McDaniel can use some of the same plays that they ran with RG3 and Alfred Morris with Washington. Hopefully he can bring that to the Dolphins. I think Alfred Morris had a crazy rookie year too, because like I said, Mike Shanahan, his running schemes are patented and proven. It's patented and proven. We ended up passing on Alfred Morris in that draft, and he was still out of FAU. I don't know, Shanahan knew he was looking for in a running back, and knew that he can get one like him later in the draft, and they ended up getting him, and he ended up being a stud. We need to get new running backs, at least 2, if we're going to keep Duke Johnson, which Duke from the U, I do want to keep Duke, but it depends on if we can get, it depends on who we can get in the draft. I like Duke. I still want to keep him on the team. I just don't know if I want Duke to be the featured back, because like I said, I really want us to have that 3-headed running back monster, and I really believe that Mike McDaniel will be able to create that 3-headed monster that I want. And the proof is 2019. When you look at 2019, he was the run game coordinator for the 49ers. All 3 of their running backs had over 500 plus yards. All 3 of their running backs. So Raheem Mostert had 772 rushing yards. Matt Breida had 623. Tevin Coleman ended up having 544 rushing yards. So they created one with the 49ers, and they utilized them in the same way I think Shula would have utilized his running backs. I think he'd be happy with those numbers from his 3 running backs in his room. Only difference is I think the power back, which was Tevin Coleman for the 49ers, would have had more yards under Shula, because Shula leans more on the power back in his committee than other coaches. So I think Tevin Coleman probably would have been the one that had the 772 yards instead of Raheem Mostert, which means in their committee, Mostert they featured him more obviously. But the Niners run a zone blocking scheme, which I think is perfect for Tua. If the running backs that we have right now, Malcolm Brown, Ahmed and Gaskin, if they was in the zone blocking scheme with a fullback that they could rely on like Juszczyk, I think we'd have had way more yards. And in my opinion, Mike McDaniel is a much better run game coordinator than Eric Stoogsville. You look at how they used Matt Breida. He had 623 yards that year in 2019. It looked explosive in that zone blocking scheme. When we had Matt Breida, we ain't using the right way. We ain't run no toss plays for him. He ain't have enough screen plays. We ran some screen plays for him, but not enough. We didn't run him on the outside zone enough, I don't think. And he did make some plays for us in some games, but I was frustrated with Chad O'Shea, and I think that could have been one of the reasons why Brian Flores got rid of Chad O'Shea and decided to switch to Gailey as well. Another thing that I like is Mike McDaniel coached wide receivers at his stops in Cleveland and Atlanta. Andrew Hawkins ended up having good numbers with Cleveland. It wasn't 1,000 yards, so that's concerning, but he did get 800 plus yards. And like I said, he coached with Atlanta under head coach Dan Quinn. He worked with Kyle Shanahan on both teams. Even though he coached wide receivers as an assistant, he should be able to bring some of the plays from the Falcons as well. So, you think about what the Falcons had over there. They had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman on their roster. So again, he had Tevin Coleman. He worked with him. Hopefully, I wouldn't mind us adding Tevin Coleman. I think he'll be the perfect power back, the power receiving back for this team. He's 28 years old, but he still is explosive. He can still play. And I think, if we was going to keep Duke Johnson and get Tevin Coleman as the power back and maybe have another back that we can get in the draft, that'll be a 3-headed monster right there. So it depends. But they had Tevin Coleman and Devontae Freeman on the roster with Julio Jones and Taylor Gabriel at wide receiver, and they ran the West Coast. They ran the West Coast of Atlanta, and that took them all the way to the Super Bowl. So the shit works. And another thing I want to point out with the Falcons, they had Dante Scarnacea's son on that staff. So he was able to implement some of those same blocking schemes that the Patriots used with the Falcons. So that's another thing that they don't tell you about that played a role into why they were successful on that line. They had Teron Ward, who was another running back that they mixed in. I would love, like I said, I would love for us to add a power back like Tevin Coleman. I think he'll be outstanding in this backfield because he's a good receiver as well out of the backfield as a bigger back. Look at how they use the best fullback in the league, Cal Juszczyk, which I'm excited about that because I know that, like I said in the East-West Shrine game video, if we can get a guy like Xander Horvath at fullback, I think he can play that Cal Juszczyk position, and he can do more in the running game for us than Cal has done with the 49ers. So that's another thing that I like. You look at the utilization and deployment of Deebo Samuels. You can just envision some of the ways he could use Jalen Waddle or maybe another wide receiver that we can get in the draft that got maybe the same build as Deebo Samuels. Maybe we can have him running some of the same kind of plays. It'll look ridiculous, man. We'll be dangerous on offense if he can, bring some of those same concepts to this offense. When you look at where we was ranked this year, 25th in the league on offense. I know a lot of y'all want to blame that on Tua, but sometimes numbers lie. And that's why I got my segment, Numbers Lie, Numbers Don't, which I'm going to be featuring throughout the weeks. I'm going to let y'all know when I'm going to drop some of those. Y'all be on the lookout, tap in, and like I said, click that like button and subscribe to the channel. Click that notification bell so y'all can get it now. So back to like I was saying, look at the fact that we was ranked 25th. You automatically blame that on Tua. But, again, you look at his completion percentage this season, 70.9%, which was ranked second in the league behind Kyler Murray. So that show you what his accuracy was like. They say that the line only was blocking for like 2.5 seconds. That's by design, I believe. I don't believe that's because the players Tua was getting sacked a lot, and Tua's sack numbers are not as high as certain quarterbacks in this league. So that tells you that it was the design. That tells you that his release was fast, 3 seconds or less on a lot of passing plays. That's Tua, and that's that RPO scheme. That is why that line was blocking for 2.5 seconds on passing plays. That's by design. What we were bad at was the running game. But, Waddle led the league in completions and had one of the best rookie years by a receiver. Jamar Chase had a better year, but Tua and Waddle wouldn't be able to do that. Him having a high completion rate and Waddle having the year that he had, if the line was as bad as y'all say it is. So that's another thing to point out. Gesicki had 73 catches for 780 yards at the tight end positions. Those are Farrell Edmonds numbers, you know what I'm saying? He went to the Pro Bowl with Dan Marino throwing to him, and he got the same kind of build that Mike Gesicki has. But the difference is Don Shula had other tight ends to complement Farrell Edmonds. So y'all gotta watch, y'all gotta do y'all history, man, and watch how these teams are developed. I think that, McDaniel can do a lot with Gesicki. And to all the fans that hate Tua and think he trash, I would say judge him after he got a running game. Judge him after he got a running game like RG3 and Garoppolo had running that Shanahan system. So y'all gonna see what the value of Tua is under Mike McDaniel, I believe. And this will really determine if we should keep him as our quarterback or not. Like I said, it's the perfect scheme, I think, for him. And I'm excited about that. There are some things I don't like, but these are the things that I do like about this hire. If you know anything about Mike Shanahan, that tree, no matter where he's been, no matter what running back he done had, the teams he's coached in Denver, top bracket in the league in running that football. Top bracket in the league. I think about some of the running backs that he had success with. Terrell Davis, who was damn near unstoppable at one point. Olandis Gary, Clinton Portis. So, Mike or Kyle Shanahan can take these players that we have on this O-line right now that y'all think is trash that we should replace, and he can make them better in the zone blocking scheme without adding vets, without doing any of that. Maybe just adding a center or right tackle through draft for depth and development. When you look at our skill positions on offense, he should be able to install what he wants. Just need to add more weapons, I think, to complement Waddle. When I do my mock draft coming out soon, I'm going to tell y'all which ones in the draft I think will be the perfect complement to Jalen Waddle, which running backs I think we should get, which O-linemen, which defensive linemen, all the players. I'm going to do my mock draft. Y'all be on the lookout. I'm also going to do some Senior Bowl analysis for the draft, HBCU players to look out for. It's Black History Month, goddammit. So it's some players that I think could be steals from some of these HBCUs. So y'all, like I said, y'all be on the lookout for that. But getting back to the coaching selection, like I said in my top 5 video, Mike Shula was my #1 target, followed by Rex Ryan and Greg Roman. I would have preferred Mike McDaniel as an OC to a defensive coach like Wink Martindale to Rex, but Green Ross chose him as the head coach. There's some things that I like about this hire, like I said, the ones I mentioned, but there are some things I don't like. And as a fan, I definitely give him the benefit of the doubt, and I'm going to try to be as open-minded as possible for what he can bring to the table. But with everything circulating around about the lawsuit that Flores has on the team, on the NFL, it's hard to be excited about any hire. It's hard to be excited about any hire because it's been a consistent pattern of bullshit and dysfunction with this franchise. So, it's been an embarrassment, and I support Flores 1,000%. I hope that there can be justice and common ground. And I do not think that Steve Ross is a racist, but it appears that he does have company that is. And, if his decisions is influenced by them, then he could be forced to sell the team. He could be forced to sell the team, and me and a lot of fans would probably want to throw a parade on Collins and Ocean Drive if he do sell the team, because a lot of fans would prefer to have a new owner, because it's just been too much since he got the team. It's just been dysfunction from Sperano to Bullygate to just a whole bunch of bullshit, man. So, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. Like I said, I ain't gonna lie, man. With all of this shit with Flores, it almost made me not even want to post, because it is some bullshit. But we gonna try to be optimistic and be excited and see what Mike McDaniel can bring to the table. Y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section about this hire. Let me tell y'all the things I don't like. The things I don't like about this hire is he's inexperienced as a play caller. They say he does have alcohol issues, as reported by Sun Sentinel. And he's previously worked with former Miami Dolphins offensive line coach Chris Forrester, who was also on that staff with Sean McVay and all of them. So we know what happened with Chris Forrester. This is Miami, so we got it out here if you want it. We got strippers, we got all the distractions that come with Miami. So Mike McDaniel, if you can stay focused, if you can handle the media pressure, because that's the one thing that Flores was able to handle and sidestep, was the media pressure. Even though I got a video coming out talking about how I feel like the media sabotaged him, he still was able to persevere and still finish strong with the team. If Mike McDaniels can handle the media, if he can handle Miami, if he can stay away from the liquor, stay away from G5, stay away from Tootsies, stay away from the mint, and you'll be straight. You know what I'm saying? And just run that West Coast offense, and he'll be just fine. If he can stay away from all that, then, we got us a head coach. I know that ain't really saying much, but I'm trying to be optimistic, man. But y'all let me know what y'all think in the comment section. Like I said, hit that like button and subscribe to the channel. Till next time, signing off, TBFN.